Okay, we're started. And as people enter, I'll let them in. Jamie, especially for your folks.
Yep.
But I wanted to start off. My name is Julie Matthews. I'm the Director of Tenant Communications. Today, I'm calling from Keswick, Ontario. I like to take this opportunity to honor my neighbors, the Chippewas of Georgina Island, and they are the caretakers of these lands and waters that I reside in. So I would like to honor the Chippewas of Georgina. Thank you. And Jamie, before we start, I just want to give a bit of context to everyone. Thank you, everyone, for inviting us. We got to meet Jamie. Well, he was introduced to us by Monica from our Sudbury location. She had met him, I guess, at a trade show or a job fair. And we were really blown away by Jamie's initial demo to us around utilization of software for recruitment of Indigenous team members and utilizing his company for ongoing engagement, whether that be for a specific project. So when we're talking here, we can also think about projects as well. So it's a combination of many different things. And at this point, I know you have a few of your team members. Jamie, I'm just going to see, I think that's the person that just called in 1402.
I believe that's Brad, yep.
Okay. But we'll start off with your introductions from your team. And there's quite a few of us on our team here today. We may get into introductions and questions a little bit. Maybe we'll do that. We'll let you get to know our team because some folks may have very different uses for what you want to do. But we'll just do a quick round of introductions. But over to you, Jamie, first.
Sure. Brad, did you want to go ahead and give yourself an introduction?
Sure. Out traveling, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yes, you're good.
Okay, very good. Well, we greatly appreciate the opportunity to be able to visit today and go through the demo, and I appreciate you letting us dial in here remotely while we're out traveling. And just a brief introduction of myself. Again, my name is Brad Campbell with the Iowa tribe of Kansas and Nebraska, and sixth generation and grandson of the Nohart of here, which is my great grandfather, and worked with our Jackson and Van Buren administrations on the first treaties in the lower 48, and so excited to work throughout Indian country, all throughout North America, and opportunities to be able to work native to native. So grateful for the opportunity to introduce myself today, and as one of our family of companies now joining with Jamie and working together. We're truly looking forward to doing some exciting things, not only throughout Indian country, but with large private business and with the federal governments as well. And so we just want to be a piece to your puzzle and be the best partner that we can be strategically to work together and accomplish what we need to accomplish for our communities. Jamie, if there's anything else you'd like me to go into or anything else you'd like to say, I'll turn the floor to you, my friend.
No, I think that's good. Thank you, Brad. Yeah, so for everybody on the call, my name is Jamie Saulnay. I was born in the U.S., but lived in Northwestern Ontario most of my life, the Thunder Bay area. I was 17. I went to work in a mine. I started my own company when I was 20-ish, 23, 24, something like that. It was a maintenance company. I turned that company into a full EPC. We had that specialized in building mines. We had between 400 to 600 employees working across Canada, the US, and myself, I've worked quite a bit in South America as well. One of the biggest challenges that I felt the industry had was not building mines any longer. It was building better partnerships with the communities in which we worked. I recognized that we had a huge ability to really create some change in a lot of the Indigenous communities we're working on through employment, through economic development. And what we were really missing was a community a community-led program that's going to maximize opportunities for people living on and off reserve, as well as those businesses, because quite often opportunities that come to Indigenous communities are far and few between, and so we wanted to make sure that we maximize that. I recognize that there was two things in industry that was needed. Number one was a good understanding of the human resources in each of the Indigenous communities in Canada, meaning who is available for work right now, who needed further education and upgrading. And we also need to understand the businesses that were able to support projects in the region. So we set out to build a database 4 or 5 years ago, and I've been actually building this program for the past 12 years, 15 years, I guess. I've paid for the whole entire thing myself. It was probably between $2 and $3 million of my own money that was put into building this. So this isn't because we had to do this or we wanted to do. This is something that we wanted to do, and we wanted to make sure we're a good corporate citizen, and we wanted to make sure that we were helping the communities we work in. So this was all done from the heart, not from any other reason other than that. So we work with communities. We've got about 320 across Canada that we're working with right now. And a lot of our corporate companies that we work with in the energy sector or the natural resource sector have operations throughout the United States. And so we've just recently merged with Brad Campbell and his group, and we're now an Indigenous-owned company with offices in Thunder Bay, Calgary, and Kansas City, as well as in Louisiana. And yeah, we're excited to show the new program that we've developed. We've taken a lot of things everything's been a learning process. So we build something, and because we own the system and we own the companies in which we worked, it was easy to build and make mistakes. So we made mistakes, and took the good, kept it, and took the bad, and learned from it. And so that's really how we've done it. So yeah, I will stop it there. You can do your introductions, and then we'll jump into a demo from there.
Sure, and we'll quickly go through our team. There's a varied group of folks here today, as well, from our projects team to human resources. And we talked a little bit about what you can do previously. So I felt this was the best team to really understand the use of it. So I'm going to start off with projects and Carolyn.
Julie, why do you always start with me? Sorry, my name is Carolyn Curis. I'm the lead on project delivery on the RP1 account nationally. We have a team of about 420 individuals delivering about 500 mil in projects annually.
Good to meet you, Carolyn.
Nice to meet you.
Pass the feather to Catherine.
Yes, hi, my name is Catherine Missick. I'm the Director People and Culture for the RP1 account, so the Government of Canada account. So it's around 2,000 employees.
Good to meet you, Catherine.
Dana.
Thank you.
Dana.
Sorry, Julie, I was just having trouble finding my mute button, and unfortunately I'm having some technical difficulties, so I won't be able to turn my camera on, but I am the General Manager for the Atlantic region in Canada for RP1.
Nice to meet you. We do a lot of work with Jedi down there.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Jamie. Emily.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm a intern with BMO specifically.
And she's one of the first few members of our Indigenous intern program.
Awesome. Good to meet you.
George.
Hey, good afternoon. Hey, Jamie. I'm not having technical difficulties. I don't want to turn my camera on because I'm not groomed at the moment, so I don't think you want to see me. Anyways, my name is George Metsopoulos. I'm the General Manager for the Ontario region. And interesting enough, we heard about Working Warriors with one of our Indigenous engagement meetings with Tiktameksing and Nishnabek up in Sudbury. Jeffrey Baudouin, I think is his name. I know he's been there. He's going to be leaving soon, but he actually helped us, and Monica Yopi was with us on the call. She's an associate property manager, sits on our Indigenous committee, And through him, we were introduced or found out about Working War. So I'm really happy that Julie has set this meeting up. It's great to meet you. Obviously, I'm not sure if you know about the RP1 contract, but we have numerous regions, 6 regions across the country. I'm responsible for the Ontario region, which is all of Ontario except anything in Ottawa and Gatineau. That belongs to the NCR region. But we've been trying to find and meeting with our various. We've met a few times with Atikamek and Nishnabek and also 6 Nations of the Grand River. And when we sat down and met with them during our quarterly meetings, we realized that, outside of approaching them and asking them for Indigenous vendors that we can use on our projects and our operations, the other aspect that we talked about was finding Indigenous talent for our numerous vacancies that we have. And so really that this year is an opportunity to expand and meet with other Indigenous communities. But I think, this meeting that Julia set up with yourself and getting to know more about your company and the services could really help us to expand. So really looking forward to learning more about you.
Yes, for sure. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, sorry. Jacqueline.
Hi, nice to meet you, Jamie. I think we've met earlier in a previous meeting, so I'm really excited to hear a little bit more about Working Warriors.
Good to meet you. Yes. Good to see you again.
Okay. And Jennifer. Oh, you're on mute, Jennifer.
You'd think after 2 years I would have gotten the hang of that, but apparently not. I'm surprised I didn't accidentally hit the leave button. It's been one of those days. So I'm Jennifer Alati. I'm the Senior Manager of Talent Acquisition for BGIS Canada. And actually work with Jacqueline is on my team and work with Julie as well. We're really excited to really expand our Indigenous recruitment. And, we made a great start this last summer with our Indigenous interns. So really looking to see how we can further expand our reach. So very excited to hear more.
Yes, good to meet you, Jennifer.
And next, my boss, Joe.
Sorry, get all the AV stuff. Yeah, sorry, Joe Abel. I sort of act as Carolyn's counterpart on the operations side. So more focused on our property management, lease admin side of business, working with Dana, George, the other GMs. So
good to meet you,
nice
sir.
to meet you. Yeah.
Kim.
Nice to meet everyone.
Kim.
Yes, hi. We previously met as well. Kim Pombero with the Ontario portfolio as a communication specialist.
Good to see you.
And over to Monica, who made all of this happen. She's the one that brought it to our attention. Monica.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Jamie. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
And yes, so I'm an associate property manager in the Northeastern Ontario region. And I've had the opportunity to take part in various career fairs at Atikamek and Nishnabek, and had the opportunity to meet some of your team members that were also taking part in that career fair, Jamie. So we were very impressed by what you had to present in June, and looking forward to you being able to share that with our wider teams today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Monica, for setting this all up.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Milan. Oh, there's a few more. Sorry. Is that okay, Jamie?
Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm the communication specialist for the NCR.
And Nicole? Oh, hi, Doug. How are you? We're just doing introductions.
You're on mute, Doug. Can you hear it now? Or can you hear everything? Okay, good. Sorry.
Good.
Doug's part of my team. If you want to just finish off your introductions, and then Doug can introduce himself.
Sure. And over to Nicole. Oops. Okay. I know she had to step out. Her and Carolyn have may have a conflict. We are recording the session for those who do have to leave early. I'll go to Radmila.
Hi, my name is Radmila Kepic, and I'm capital planning analyst in NCR portfolio, and also part of the Dragon Den project champions this year for the Indigenous recruitment, which actually won the business case here in BGIS this year. And I'm also looking forward to learn more about your software, especially working in a project in our portfolio and in our actually company. Thank you.
Good to meet you.
Rick?
Hi, I'm Rick Edgelo. I'm the general manager for BC in the Yukon, responsible for the RP1 account, and looking forward to seeing what you've got to present.
And Rocco?
Hey guys, Doug, Jamie, good to see you. Rocco Longi, Senior Security Manager for RP1 Ontario region, and I'm also a member of the Nipissing First Nations in Garden Village, just outside of North Bay.
Good to meet you, Rocco.
Rosa? Rosa?
Hi, everyone. My name is Rosa Bavaro. I'm the Senior Director for our People and Culture team. I work really closely with Julie, with Jennifer, with Jacqueline. Part of our role is to really look at how to enhance diversity and inclusion within the workforce. So really excited to be part of this discussion today. So thanks.
Thank you, Rosa.
Staff?
Is that it from your? Oh, Stephanie.
Oh, no, to a few more people. Sorry, I want to make sure, I know we're spending time, Jamie, because there's just such a wide range, and I didn't include any of the US folks on this call because it was big enough. So I just wanted to make sure you knew who was on the call as well. So if you do need to follow up directly with the individuals, you can do so.
Okay.
Okay, Tara? Oh, you're on mute, Tara.
Jeez, my goodness, tech troubles. Tara White, I'm a portfolio manager on the RP1 account in Pacific, and I also work closely with Wade Griffin on Indigenous engagement in our Pacific region. So I'm really looking forward to your information and presentation today.
Okay.
Thank
Just
you,
just a few more. Trey?
Hi, my name is Trey Laprice. I am a member of the Chippewa Prairie First Nation. I am a finance intern, and I'm also an Indigenous intern as well.
Good to meet you, Trey.
Vanessa? Oh, you're on mute, Vanessa.
Sorry about that. I'm Vanessa Dreckman. I'm a project administrator on the RP1 Major Capital Projects account. I also sit on the Indigenous Communications Committee with BGIS. I'm Ojibwe, and I'm from Northern Ontario from the Red Rock Band.
Oh, nice. Good to meet you.
Nice to
And
meet you.
finally, but not least, Wade, our champion. Wade.
Good afternoon, Wade Griffin. I'm the National Director for Indigenous Engagement. I am a Mohawk from Six Nations down here in Southern Ontario, and really looking forward to continuing the conversation that we started last time. Thanks.
Yeah. Good to see you, Wade.
Okay, now we're done. Thank you, Jamie, for your patience, because I think it was important to get to know everybody. You have a large group here today with a lot of interest. So over to you and your presentation.
I just wanted to introduce Doug Hoffman first. He's one of our key people here at the company.
It's nice to meet everybody. You want me to say what I do, or
sure? Just tell them where you're from.
I'm from Kansas City, down in the United States. I'm part owners of Bear Claw Construction, which is a native-owned construction company, and my partner Brad Campbell's also involved. He is currently on travel, so he won't be a part of this call. But just really excited to start engaging and really share Jamie's passion for Native American people, and then also we work a lot with foster care, and there's a huge need for training and employment in the aged out population in the United States. So just real excited as well.
Fantastic.
Hey, Doug, just a heads up. I'd already introduced myself in at the beginning of the call, so just wanted to let you know I'm on the call.
I guess that's what I get for getting here late. I didn't see a BC, so I was looking for you.
Okay, everybody. So everyone can see my screen okay?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So I'll just do a rundown of really, again, what Working Warriors is and what it was designed for. So really, again, it's a Native American communication firm. Really, that's what we are. We found that the biggest challenges that we face, whether or not it's project management, whether or not it's recruiting, whatever the case may be, is really about communication. So we've designed this whole site around that. Some things about us. So one of the things that we're quite proud of is we won the CEPA Foundation Award for innovation in the resource sector. Usually this goes to the Canadian Energy Pipeline Association. So usually this goes to companies who are doing things to build better pipelines. And it was the first time in history that a company was awarded this award for the work in the Indigenous space that we did. So I was quite proud of that. There's about basically every energy company in Canada was able to vote on this, and we were voted in as the winner. So it was quite fun. So basically, the way we've set this platform up is it's a space for communities. So really, in Canada and in the United States, we're getting better now with internet and company and community websites. But for the longest time, if you wanted to engage with the community, trying to find any information about them in terms of where they live, what their contact information is, population size, any of those things were really difficult to find. So this was one of the number one things we wanted to do, was to build a space for communities to showcase who they are and what they have to offer in terms of employment and economic development, and in terms of engagement protocols, so forth and so on, really to showcase the communities themselves. For employers, we built a page again. So for employers, most employers have a corporate page where they list their jobs and so forth and so on, which is fine. But in a lot of the industries that we work with, there's a whole supply chain management system, and that involves multiple subcontractors and people that are not part of your organization, but you would like them to be. So when you look at building an inclusive diversity program, you need to include everybody within your supply chain. So to give you an example, one of the groups on here is Valley. It's a mine we work with in Sudbury. Valley does very little work. Of their capital work, they probably do maybe 1% of it. It's all done by companies that come from all over the world to bid on this work. And really, what do those companies who are bidding on the work know about the communities in Sudbury, for instance, and how to engage with them? However, the meetings that companies have, such as Valley, they like to represent that they're doing these great things and they have these great processes in place, but it's not fluid throughout the organization. So really, what we do is we help employers to set up a page within the system that really talks about their diversity plans, who to reach to look for employment, and jobs that might be available, so forth and so on. For individuals, I'll get to how that works in a second. So we've built a page within Working Warriors for individuals to come in and they create a profile. So basically, like everything else you see in LinkedIn, actually, you know what? I could just show it to you right now. Basically, this is what this thing looks like. So this is a personal profile for an individual. They come in, they set up their banner, pick picture, and they upload their cover just like normally they do. They grab their personal information of where they're from, what community they're from, so forth and so on. Grabs their information on their employment. Are they seeking work? Are they not seeking work? Employment status, whether they're employed, staves, or with who. And then it gets into their resume. So we grab all the information on their resume so we can come in here to say, what is their position, who are they working for, time, city, province, any volunteer experience that they've done, so who they volunteered with, any apprenticeships that individuals may have be in. So we've got all the apprenticeship programs are built into the system, whether level 1 to Red Seal, all the different apprenticeships that they're based out of. And the reason, again, we give this information is for two reasons. Number one is Indigenous communities have always been very reactive, meaning they're going to get a new water treatment plant, and there's companies coming to town, and there's going to be jobs. So everybody within the community who wants a job is out there trying to get their resumes put together or whatever the case may be. Well, when you're bidding on a project, or when you guys are looking at a project, you don't want to wait until the project starts to be able to put together your diversity plan, because it might not be accurate. So if you go into a project, which so many companies do, and they say, well, we'd like to start off by hiring 20% of the workforce is going to be Indigenous on this project, or corporately when we hire. Well, that's a big statement to make if you don't know what you're getting into. So if you guys are going to go do a project in a community and it's going to require 10 people with a certain skill, and you're hoping to hire 20%, but only 1% has that skill, now you're backtracking. So the idea of our program is to be proactive, so the communities can be proactive. They can understand their workforce. They can understand the people who have shortfalls for education and training, and they can really represent to companies that are looking to engage with them an accurate picture of what their workforce represents, and how to engage with them. So this is the reason why we gather this information. And then, of course, for us as a company who provides staffing services to companies, this is all very important information for us to grab. So for instance, if you call us and say we need 15 caretakers or 2 electricians or whatever the case may be, we would be able to go into our database and find those individuals and present them to you. I'll get to that services part of things in a minute. Skills and safety training, again, this is very important. Companies all over the place do education and training programs, whether it's WMIS, first aid, whatever the case may be. We capture all that information, and then the important thing here is expiry dates, because we send so many resumes for individuals off, and they did WMIS in 1987. Well, that doesn't do any good to you guys when you're trying to hire somebody who has these current tickets. So this helps ourselves and our individuals understand their expiry dates, what their education is, in terms of their high school education, their post-secondary. We've got a lot of the degrees are built into this thing. Areas studies are all built in this. So really it paints a good picture of what the individual has. And then this all gets wrapped up into our database where we can have a look and see what our workforce represents. So when you go back to the main page, we were down here on communities, or for individuals. So this is what that looks like. So for individuals, so to give you an example, the work we're doing in Sudbury right now is Valley, Glencore, and I think there's 4 communities there. What we do is we've hired a community administrator, usually a summer student or somebody who's working within the band, who has a relationship already in place. So we meet with chief and council. They understand the program, what it is that we're going to do, the benefits of it all. Then we hire an individual on a set amount of time. So if it's a community that's 1,000 people, we might hire them for 3 months. If it's a community of 200 people, it might be a couple of weeks. But what we do is we help the individuals who are in the community on and off reserve, and the HR team to help them to build their profiles so that they have an accurate profile that they can use themselves. So they're not waiting for the band office or somebody from HR, that the individuals themselves have the power to see jobs on Working Wires and then apply directly for those jobs should they wish. And then the last one is organizations we work with. So again, there's no use reinventing the wheel. I found over the years, people have asked us to be, the cook and the cleaner and whatever else there is on these projects. And it's not really what we were set out to do. And not to step on toes of these organizations. So we work with a lot of organizations. For instance, in the East Coast with JEDI actually got all the funding themselves. They went out and got the funding for all the communities in New Brunswick, and it allowed us to populate the database for all the communities in New Brunswick and build all their thing. So they're a really, really good group to work with. We also go back to them, and when there's capital projects in the region, just to work with JEDI to say, oh, here's a project, this is what we're trying to do. And it's all about building those relationships with those groups. Native Women's Association of Canada, this is a big one. I'm a huge proponent of women in the workplace, especially in the Indigenous community side of things. Many of the women are left at home to take care of kids, and that's just their job. And they really don't have an opportunity to go out and spread their wings. And so we do a lot of work with Indigenous women in the workplace through Native Women's Association of Canada. We have agreements in place to get wage subsidies. So either for yourself or for us, if we're able to hire somebody, we can get somebody 50% of their wage paid for. If we get them into any kind of training, we can get that training paid for, as well as 75% of their wages paid for during that process. Karma, Contact North. So here's a good example of the work that we do. Contact North is a group in Ontario that if you look them up, they're an online training program. They're funded provincially and federally, and essentially they have a office. They have a station set up in every single First Nation and Métis community in Ontario. And what they're doing is they're out in the community helping members to find jobs and find opportunities, learn about any. So for instance, if we do a community in Sudbury and we find out that of the 100 people that are able to go to work, another 15 or 20 of them don't have their grade 12 or they don't have this. This is when we'd connect with Contact North. Contact North would then take those individuals and put them through training programs through their offices and so forth. So these are not things that you guys would have to pay for. These are things that our partners do ourselves. So, and a prime example is we just received a contract for a group in Ontario called MCON. And what MCON does is they do all the highway work, snow plowing and replacing guardrails, putting up signs and all these things. They just asked us for, I think it was 60 people for the Southern Ontario region, Markham, Peel, all the way through there, Georgian Bay. And then they're asking for another 100 people for the northern region in Ontario for snowplowing. So that's 160 people that they're looking to hire. Well, what we do is we work with Contact North. So we put together all the job descriptions, we get everything ready. That then goes over to Contact North. Contact North disperses all of those job positions out to all of the communities and to all the community pages within Working Warriors. And then we work with Yes Employment to bring all the resumes in and vet them and understand who exactly needs any kind of training or upgrading, and then we work with the actual company to help them to get the individuals to work on onboarding and training and so forth. So just to give you an idea is that we've often seen a lot of groups in Canada and US or around the world often work in silos. So if you're in HR, that's where you sit, and it's hard to do your job if you're needed to work in another capacity and you don't have the ability to do that. So really working in a team environment with governments, provincially and federally, with organizations that are set up to do training, who are often looking to spend money or looking to have more people come in the doors, is really another spot for the organization. So those are the 3 groups or 4 groups. We work with organizations, individuals, companies, and communities all together to come up with a solution. And the solution is to bring more and better opportunities to our local workforces. So once you get still on the front side of this, we have a job board in here right now where companies can come in here and post jobs. Now, anything that you see here that comes in through Working Warriors, these are just individual companies that have said, we just want to post a job, whether or not it's a cook, a cleaner, or we get all kinds of them. So the Government of Canada posts jobs on here, individuals post jobs on here, individual companies post jobs on here. And essentially what it is that we're not trying to, specifically for me and the work that we've done in the past has always been maintenance related or capital projects related. And a lot of the people that we work with in communities don't want to go work at a mine or a pipeline or building or wherever the case may be. They may want to work at Starbucks. They want to make it a veterinary assistant or whatever it is. So we work with the Chamber of Commerce from various places. So for example, again, the Sudbury example of what we talked about, we're gathering all the information with the communities. We're gathering all the businesses with the communities. And in September, we're going to have an event put on by the communities and the Sudbury Chamber of Commerce. The Sudbury Chamber of Commerce goes out and it brings attention to the Working Warriors platform. So anybody who's in that area, whether or not it's, again, McDonald's or Starbucks, whoever, has the ability to recruit an Indigenous audience from this. So every time a job's posted, it goes to our national job board, unless it's an actual company job, which I'll get to. So they just go on and on and on, the jobs that are on here. For companies that want to have their job board scraped. So for instance, Vale here, this is the mine. Every single job that they have in North America goes onto their company page on their website. So that's mostly for all their corporate stuff. So all their jobs are scraped from the Vale website and goes directly onto the Working Warriors website. And then anything over and above that for their projects is a different process, which I'll show you. So job board typically for everything else. But again, if you're in Nunavut or if you're in wherever you are, I could go on forever here, but I did a lot of work with suicide prevention in the past, really trying to understand why communities and their members had such a high volume of people that were wanting to take their lives. And outside of a lot of reasons, the main one that just kept a lot of reasons that I could help with. The main one was communication. And I hear if I'm living in Attawapiskat in a flying community where we have one computer at the band office, and then there's no jobs there. There's a bulletin board that might post a few jobs, and we don't have the ability to reach that company. It was pointless. So they really lost hope in terms of finding an opportunity that is going to allow them to get work outside of the reservation. And so this was the main reason why we put this together, so that community, whether it's the individual or the community or HR or the band office or like DevCorp or whoever it is, has a constant flow of information for companies that are specifically trying to hire an Indigenous or diverse workforce. So this is really the main reason why that was built. When you go into communities, so this was a very important one for us. So again, at communities, we assist communities in gathering and recording the information their members' work experience, training, education, community-owned businesses. So if you remember when we went through that process at the beginning with the individual, we gather all their information, including their education and so forth. As we do that with the communities, it starts to paint a picture of their workforce, and we have the ability then to understand, again, any training needs or people that are able to go to work. Within Working Warriors, we have built a website for every single Indigenous community in North America. So every community in Canada has a site. About 300 or so, 320 communities do have the data and into their profiles. And so, we've got I think about 10,000 people who are registered in Working Warriors right now. And like I said, about 300 something communities. That list grows on a daily basis. So if an example, again, for the Sudbury region, it was a company, it was Vale. They wanted to know more about their individuals, community members, and how they can help work. So we went in and helped them to build their communities. And I think one of them was on the previous page here. There it is right there. So this is the one that you guys were talking about. So here's their contact information. So again, it has to be very clear and precise as to where it is on Google Maps is right here. You can zoom right into the community. This is about the community, so a little bit of history on the community. And most important part, this is how the community wants you to reach them. So you call Danielle, here's her email, here's information, whatever the case may be. Actually, that's for Sagamok. I don't know why that's in this one, but it goes back and tells you exactly. What happened to my, can you guys still see my screen?
No, we're seeing, you're sharing your email there. Hold on, try again.
Oh.
Stop and reshare.
Oh, something happened.
Yeah. There we go. We can see it now.
Okay, so sorry, I was in communities, so I hit the wrong clicker. So again, we have all the communities are built into this thing all the way through that. And if you guys want to post a job directly to this one in Nunavut, you just come on here and you can post jobs directly to their community. Then all those jobs show up on their community page. So if you're doing a project in this community, then you have the ability for the community itself to use this as their HR function. Because a lot of communities don't have HR programs in their community. So this allows them to have a job board, and then once they get into their community, they have the ability to see all the people who have applied for jobs within their community. They have the ability to edit their profiles. They have the ability to edit their people. They can see all the job candidates that are applying for these jobs. So there's all kinds of information that the communities get that they wouldn't necessarily have. Sorry, my system's really slow for some reason. That they wouldn't necessarily have when they're there. So if I go back now, and I'll get into the back end of this thing. The idea behind the employers page was that we wanted to have employers to have their own profile. And so this is the one we just got off the phone with. This is Aecon. They're a huge company from across Canada. Again, this is information on their company, their address, their website, how to get a hold of them. This is all about Aecon, and these are all Aecon's jobs. So this is scraped directly from their corporate page. So any job that they're looking to hire, that they're looking to fill, it's as simple as we set up a scraping process. If you guys have a job board for nationally for your company or for provincially, whatever you want to do, you have the ability to come in here, and this is where all your jobs will be posted on this. The second thing that we've put into this because of the work that we do on projects, is we've set up the ability for companies to build project pages. And what that means is, so for instance, for Coastal GasLink, if having a corporate page is just for your corporate roles that you're trying to fill, that's one thing. But when all the projects that you guys do, especially on the capital side of things, you may have specific agreements that you're going to enter into with the communities that are involved, or the company itself that you're working for, whether it's the Canadian government has specific protocols in terms of who you would like to engage and how you would like to engage them. This is a process that allows us to do that. So when you come in here, and I'll show you how to set up a project page, you guys can have, so this would be your corporate profile page, and on here would be this, and then underneath would be all your jobs, and then you would have the ability to see all your projects, whether or not it's a brand new project or it's an existing project or it's a new project you're going to create as you're going to be bidding on work. You just simply you can set it up for this exact reason. So it'll be the same thing. It'll be about the job, where the contact is, and all the jobs are specific for that project. So when we do work on the pipeline, and certain spreads will involve certain communities. So how we set that up in the back end is that only jobs that are going to be listed on this project are going to be for these communities. Or if they want to just let them sit there for 7 days, and they go to the first 7 days, they can be filled by community members, and then it goes on and on from there. Is how we've done that. So setting up projects. So I'll give you an example on a project. We did the Enbridge Line 3 project. We were recruited, or we were hired by the company to manage the whole entire Indigenous program for Line 3, which is a huge pipeline that was Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. There was over 100 communities involved in that program. We were responsible for engaging all the communities. We're responsible for installing working warriors in all the communities, getting all the community members trained, all their safety training that had to be done, all the onboarding that had to be done. We worked with all the contractors, the prime contractors, and all their subcontractors. They posted all their jobs on the Enbridge page. We were responsible for working with the community HR people and the Working Warriors program to find all the resumes, then package all the resumes up per job, per trade, then send those off to the contractor. Sometimes we would hire them, sometimes the contractor would hire them, and then we would report on that whole entire process all the way up from the communities through the subcontractors to the prime contractors, and wrap that all the way up to Enbridge themselves. So the Enbridge has had a clear goal, because again, at the time, Al Monaco said on the stage and said, this Line 3 project is a $7 billion project. And it's going to create all these jobs. It's going to create all these things. They didn't have a way of reporting on all of that because it was all done by others, the work itself. So at the end of the day, they had shot to hire 400 people on the project, Indigenous people. And at last count, there was over 1,300 people that were hired, and there was not a single disruption on the project in terms of employment issues or anything. So it was a huge, huge success. And that's really what led us into the United States was, companies like that we're working with, like Enbridge, is saying, we work across borders, and we really need a program that's going to allow us to work across borders with all of our different groups. So I will show you how to get into that one. Anything else I'm going to show you in this? Company pages, employer pages, organizations, business directory. So again, a lot of the work that we do is building business directories for the local communities in which we work. So every time we go into a community and we're helping them to build their database of individuals, we also build a database of their local businesses, so that again, if there's a company that's going to be working in a certain area, they have the ability to do three things. They have the ability to engage with the community. They have the ability to offer employment opportunities to the community, and they have the ability to understand what businesses are available that they could utilize on the project as well. So it's all there, and then the reporting functions that we produce as a company are all based in the back end. If I log out and I log back in, just going to grab this new email address and Distance gave me. Oops. So what this does now is this is a profile. This is the dashboard for one of the groups that we're working with. So again, when you guys have an employer profile, this is how, and you guys would be completely and fully in charge of this. So basically we have this email address at the very top of the screen. You guys would have your own, you could have multiple people as administrators on the account if you'd like to, but this gives you access to your employer profile. So you guys would just come in here, your name, your banner images, all those different types of things about the company. So who you guys are, company size, industry, your employer location. So all this information is all saved to your profile. And then this is what actually creates your profile. And then from that, you have your dashboards. This is the wrong one. Sorry, I keep going back to that one. You have your project dashboards where you can come in here, and these were all your dashboards will be in place for contracts that you have. So you guys have the ability to track if you're doing this is going to be project 1. So down here you have your actual projects, right? So this would be where all your projects sit. And you guys have the ability to go into your projects and understand how many jobs were posted, how many jobs were filled, all these other things, so that you can actually know on a project basis how you're doing instead of an overall company basis. It allows you to say, okay, on this project, we were shooting for 15% Indigenous employment, and we're actually at 30, or we're actually at 5, and what are the barriers, and why is this happening? And then the ability to manage your jobs. So you have the ability, so this is where all of your jobs are posted. So these are all the jobs that you can scrape from your job board. You can come in here at any point in time. You can edit them or delete them or pause them. And then you can come in here and add a new job. So for instance, if it's a job for your Indigenous relations team, or it's not something you want to, it's going to be able to be scraped. If it's a special job, if it's summer, whatever you want to do, you guys then have the ability to come in here and actually post the job directly to this thing, and where it's going to be posted, and all this information in terms of your salaries, your additional details on what it is that you're looking for is all posted into here. Any of the external job information, where this is coming from, so forth and so on. So you guys have the ability to then just come in and customize. So if this is somebody from HR, if this is somebody, one of your project managers, you can either post this job directly to one of your project pages, or you can post this directly to your main corporate page. So this starts to look at some of the back end, the reporting that we've done, everything that we do from a reporting perspective is mostly all customized. So, and I'll tell you, because when we first started doing this, companies would say to us, well, we wanted to do this. And then the next company says, well, we kind of wanted to do this, but we wanted to actually do that. So we had to look at it where we have all kinds of reports in the back end. So if you wanted to have an understanding of how many people were located in a certain region and what they're broken down by trade, how many jobs you guys posted to those regions, how many people applied, how they applied. So whether it's through Facebook or Instagram, or how you learned, all that information is in there, all the way down to was a person hired, what community they're from, what trade are they in, how many hours have they worked. We've got project dashboards for all of the subcontractors. So for instance, again, if you're the prime contractor of a project, and you've got 15 or 20 subs, having a piece of paper from 20 different pieces of paper that shows who they're hiring and when they're hiring is a very difficult process, and it's very time consuming for you guys. So the way that we've developed that is on a project page, you simply have the ability to just guide the individuals who are part of the project to a link, and that link is where they can post all their jobs. So you have one site where all the jobs are being posted and where all the information can be managed by you guys. So it's basically, there's timesheets, there's all different things we've created, but it's the ability to manage all your subs and your supply chain so that the jobs that they're going to be coming to do are also going to be visible to your members, and then report all the way up from there on the hiring and the firing and who wasn't there. And this way you're able to create relationships, a little bit better relationships too with your Indigenous partners, is being able to go back into them and say, listen, there was 15 jobs posted this week, and there's people that are qualified to do this, we're just not getting the uptake. What's the reason why that's happening? So you're able to have that conversation with the community and together look at what those barriers might be. But at the end of the day, if you guys are making a commitment to do everything that you can to procure Indigenous material and people for your projects, then this system is going to do that. And like I said, majority of it all on the reporting side of things is all 100% customizable, and can be fit to make your company. So what I'm saying is, if you create a page on Working Warriors, and then you want to add into your administration, you want to add in some reports, and you want it to generate reports, or you want your subs to apply to these, then so be it. An example would be Valley and Sudbury. Valley has actually just taken the steps to stop asking their companies, third-party companies, to come up with their own Indigenous plan. And I'll tell you why. A lot of the companies just don't know how, and they don't really want to do that. This is something new to a lot of the construction industry that's out there. And second of all, there's a huge cost. So every time a company bids on a job to you guys and you're asking them to come up with an Indigenous participation plan, that's not for free. They're taking that money and they're either putting it in a line item or they're bearing it throughout the project to say, how much are we gonna put in this? So what lies with that, with the way of doing that, lies risk, because now you're asking your contractors to go out and develop their own plan and develop an engagement protocols with your communities, and often it leads to disruption, which is not good. So the way that we've built this whole thing is that if everybody's on the same page, and you guys are leading an owners-led program, and that's what Valley's attempting to do right now. Is this is how we engage. This is the process that we use. Here's the Working Warriors link. So right in their RFPs, when they release an RFP, it's contact whoever, Jamie at Working Warriors, to find out about our Indigenous hiring policies and programs and how that all looks. So then we're responsible for, for that whole entire process. So if you go back to our services page, which is in here, we really start at the beginning of the entire spectrum. So we work with companies to understand what their inclusion goals are. Like, what's your diversity program look like? Is it operating, are you guys a global company? Is your program only operating in Canada? Are you looking to expand it into other countries, like the US or whatever the case may be? So we have a team of people that will be able to sit down and really understand what your goals are, and together build a plan as to, and it might not be for your whole company. It might just be for one project. It might be project based. It might be maintenance based. It might be anything. But it's really just trying to understand where you guys are trying to fit your diversity program within your organization, and how we can best understand it and help you to roll that out. Working with community partners, again, this is a huge one. And I get so many people say, I knocked on the door, Jamie, of the community, and I drove there, and I did all these things, but you have to understand that when I first started doing this, the word corporate social responsibility didn't even exist. And people were just getting into this. And so unfortunately, as it's evolved over the years in Canada at lightning speeds, there's been some good, but there's been some really bad. And the partners have lost trust in a lot of the people they've worked with, because again, people overpromise and underdelivered. And and for me specifically, when you go somewhere and you look at a $10 billion hydro dam, and you go look at the community that's 15 feet away and they have dirt roads and no running water, well, that I think that we could have done more in building that project. So really working with our community partners and the relationships that we have. On the US side of things, Brad Campbell is very well known throughout Indian country, United States. Brandy Liberty, she's another one. She does a tremendous amount of work in HR, and today's meeting was really for me to go through some of the things that we do and the services we offer, and then for you guys to come back and say, listen, we're interested in this, or we're interested in the US side of things, we're working in Canada, we're looking at consulting, whatever the case may be, right? We work with supply chain. So again, this is where I find, and we found over the years, to be the biggest challenge is our Prime Minister in Canada will say, this is a wonderful project that's going to create $1 billion in jobs and 10 billion in revenue for Indigenous communities. Well, if you do not have a process in place to ensure that happens, it will not happen as good as it can. Let's put it that way. And I'm not going to beat this to death, but as I've explained to you guys before, whether or not it's in your supply chain or whether it's through all the subs, having a clear model of how you're going to do things, and have a communication.
Just people.
To have a communication protocol in place where everybody's on the same page is absolutely clear, and we've seen that it worked in the past quite a bit. Again, working with all your contractors. So as a contractor myself, or I used to be, it's still up and running, but I'm not in it anymore. We get a $30 million RFP to build conveyors on a mine site, and the project would be due in 14 days. I mean, I don't think we ever saw a tender that was longer than 30 days in the mining industry. It's just, here it is, build it. But then, it started off with a checkbox. Are you willing to work with Indigenous people? Now they expanded to show us this and show us that and do all these other things. Well, if the mine site is in Thompson, Manitoba, and you're a construction company bidding on this from New Brunswick, what do you know about the communities and how to engage with them, or any of those things? So another big thing that we do is we work not only just with your supply chain to set up the process, but we work with your contractors to ensure that they understand that they're kind of like, we call them client account managers. They're mini project managers within your organization. So you can have one client account manager that manages everything within your organization. So that means helping you to work with all your different departments, with HR, posting jobs, posting projects, all that stuff. All the way through to, you've got a multi-million-dollar project in downtown Calgary to build a tower, and you've got to engage with 17 communities, and there's a lot of work involved in all that, whereas we would be able to come in and provide you a client account manager specifically for that project. So whether or not it's corporately as a whole, we have individuals or groups of people that can work in that space. And when it comes to on a project side of things, I think on Enbridge, we had 30 staff and close to 90 people in the field. And that was a $7 billion project that we're able to manage using the Working Orders program. So really that's a big one, as well as working with your contractors to make sure they're on track and make sure that they're reporting everything properly, and that any disruptions that may have, or any questions that they may have in terms of working with the communities in which they're involved in. It's a risk to your company, no ifs, ands, or buts. It's a risk to any company to start working with an Indigenous community and not be ready to do so, because when things go sideways, you often don't get a second chance to work with that community. And second of all, that reputation spreads very, very quickly. So we don't take on a tremendous amount of clients within our organization. We work with groups that truly want to do this and have a plan to do this, because obviously for us, our reputation as an organization is paramount, right? Supplying and managing the workforce. So again, this is how we've made our money, and this is how we've done a lot of the program. Is a company like yourselves will call us and say, we have a maintenance program to take care of 10 buildings, and we're really trying to recruit, we're really trying to hire, we're really trying to do whatever. Maybe it's only on a temporary basis. If you look at, so for example, Valley, by the time they do their reach out to the communities, the recruitment, getting the person onboarded, and then all the training required for that person to only last for 2 or 3 weeks, and then leave for whatever reason, for retention, let's just say, issues, it's a huge cost for you guys. And then there's a downside of this with all the aftermath of paperwork that has to be done. So what we do is we've been supplying people to industry for a long time, and whether or not that's cooks or cleaners in buildings or in campsites, all the way up to tradesmen who are working on projects. So again, we just got that call from MCON. They're looking for 100 people to become snowplow operators this winter. So those people would work for Working Warriors because they're seasonal, and away they go. So again, in a case for yourself, if you guys are building something and you're looking for us to do the engagement, recruitment, and supply of the manpower, people power to your projects, including all your reporting and payroll and WCB and everything that comes with that, that's also a service that we supply. So there are 2 services we apply, obviously, our consulting and workforce supply. And then the last piece of this is the reporting side of things. So I don't know how many people work within your company or how many divisions. There's a lot of you on the phone today. Having multiple people touch multiple pieces of paperwork to try and get a clear picture of your diversity program can be challenges. So we work together with you guys to be able to put together a reporting program, whether it's project-based, provincially based, state-based, or nationally based on what it is that you're doing. I'll say that we are completely spread out across Canada from north to south to east to west. We've got participation agreements with so many different entities, from trainings, from native-run colleges, from trade schools to unions to you name it. We've worked in every province with almost every one of them. So your ability to say, you know, Jamie, we have a new project in Northwest Territories or in the Yukon or wherever the case may be, is going to allow us to put together a great team for you to bid the work and to execute the work and manage and report on the work is some of the things that we're able to do. So anybody have any questions right now? I know it's like drinking from a fire hose, because there's a lot of information going to this. Our team in the US, so again, all these groups that we're working with in the United in Canada are all companies that are operating in the US. And so what we're doing right now is we have two goals in the US, is obviously to work with a couple of key clients to continue the consulting and staffing side of things that we're doing. But more importantly, we're working with Native American communities, and this is where Brandy's going to really help us out a lot, is to work with the various agencies, and sometimes it's federal government, sometimes it's state government, sometimes it's the Bureau of Indian Affairs or whoever it may be, to work with them to build this process. So we have some key areas that we're working in right now that clients are actually wanting us to work in, and that's how we look at this. So, you know, a lot of work in Texas and Louisiana and in the Kansas area, that we're Nevada, places like that. But say, for instance, for you guys, part of this whole entire process is you if you have existing programs in place, maintenance contracts, or you're going to be bidding capital work, the problem that everybody has is they come to us 4 days before this thing's due, the proposals due, or when shovels hit the ground and the first person comes along and says, where's your Indigenous workforce? And this is when people start to panic, and that's not really where you can build a program that's going to benefit everybody. So what we're very interested in doing, and what's worked the best for us, is being able to forecast. So if you guys do know, this is exactly what happened with MCON. So for their winter program, they need in Ontario 160 people. We're going to be able to go out, we're going to be able to find the training organizations, we're going to be able to get the people trained, we're going to be able to get them their tickets, we're going to be able to get them all ready to go, so that when the project starts, they're ready to go. And this is the same type of scenario that that I see with this group, is to be able to stop sharing. There we go. Is to be able to come up with a plan where we, and maybe it's not nationwide for you guys. Maybe it's something that you guys would like to start on a project by project basis. I don't know. But it would be to come up with a plan to say, here's an area where, you know, we really need help. And it can be double, whether or not you guys need help as integrating your programs in the United States. That's from a consultancy basis. If your capital teams know there's a big project coming up, so example would be Government of Canada has a mega project called Sky Align. It's a new military base that's being built in Manitoba and Saskatchewan, 3 of them. And there's only 2 groups bidding this, one from Canada, one from Italy. And the group from Canada has, I think, 15 different companies. And what they're doing is they're going to build and train helicopter pilots from around the world at these bases. And it's all going to be done through the Government of Canada. So the tenders is due in August, but the project will not start until next February. So that gives us the lead time to be in those communities, to getting the people together. Now, I understand that you guys will not have 7 months to do things, but if you do know that we're going to be bidding a job to do something, and I'll have to be honestly, I'm a little bit ignorant to all the things that you guys do, but if you're going to be bidding a job and you know that it's going to be coming up, well, we have the ability to work together with you to put together a plan prior to going in this to help you win the project. Because we do that all the time. Companies will have us come into a project award and really explain the process of how we do things, what we do, what the outcomes are going to be, what that all looks like, and that helps you to get the project awarded. And then from there, we can continue on. So I'll leave it at that. I think there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for us to assist you with your program and with the people we have in place throughout North America. And yeah, maybe we'll just open up for some questions.
Questions from anyone?
Crickets on a group this size? Jeez, that's not good.
Well, I've got scenarios. I always come prepared, okay? So,
okay.
Unfortunately, we do not have our US group and we don't have our business development group either, but I'm recording the session, so I will be sharing that as well. So we got asked by our corporate team, we're building our office in Naples, Florida. We have, Wade has some connections down there. How would you support us, with maybe say connecting with the community there, maybe getting some artwork? What are the options available that you could help us support as we build this office?
Brad, are you still able to talk, Brad?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. You can hear me okay?
Yeah. So the question was if so down in Florida, Naples, maybe it's the Seminoles, I'm not entirely sure, but how would we go about assisting this group with creating that relationship and assisting along the way?
Sure. Relationships are absolutely a big part of working together, and as we work together and partner together, we're always happy to help in any way that we can in making those introductions throughout the lower 48. We have relationships there in the Southeast and strong throughout the country. So depending on what it is that you're looking for and wanting to do, we're happy to open up that relationship to those that can assist or help along the way.
So to get into that forecasting, right, Julie? So that if you have a project and you're building your headquarters down there in Florida, have you engaged communities already? Have you gone and talked to people? Have you done any of that work yet? And so really, this is where we would come in. So somebody like Brad or with Brandy would get together and say, who's our contacts in Florida? And they know Brad and they know Brandy and they trust them, and say, who's really is our contacts in the region. And we would go ahead and do those introductions first to our, to reach out to them. This is who we are. This is what we're doing. And this is the group we're working with. And we really become that facilitator, right? So we'd help to facilitate the engagement with the community and the relationship building with the community, and then ultimately what it is that you guys are hoping to do, we help you to bring that to the community to build those, right?
Yeah, and that would be sort of the one-off consulting fees, correct?
Yeah. So yeah, if you're just saying this is what we're going to do, and so you tell us your objective. So basically, it's not like everything else. Is have to develop a scope. And sometimes it's written on the back of a napkin. Sometimes it's written in a 40-page legal document. But we really need to just identify what the scope is, and then you send that scope off to us. And if there is a client account manager who works within your organization for Working Warriors, which is something that really helps, is that doesn't matter what department it is, whether or not it's capital, maintenance, whatever the case may be, you have somebody that you can go to, and this is where you have those discussions that would come back to our group. So this is an opportunity. This is the timeline, and we provide you with a document that says just fill out these answers or fill out the questions, these answers, and you guys would just go ahead and we would scope it out quickly and then turn around with the price to say this is how it should cost, how many days or weeks or months or whatever the case may be.
Okay, and Rose, I know we've been chatting online. I asked this question of you before. The cost to open up just our employer page or company page, and you mentioned that cost. Can you repeat what that cost is?
Yeah, it's $1,000 a year. Yeah, so $1,000 a year gets you everything I just showed you on Working Warriors. And again, we're not trying to make, well, probably Doug's going to kick me under the table here, but we're not trying to make money on subscriptions. But the reason, and I guess there's been a lot of work into developing this program, and there's going to be a lot of more work going into developing the program. So the subscription fees really goes into, improving Working Warriors and the software itself. But it's not our bread and butter. But yeah, it's a $1,000 fee, and of course, when things are free, then people are like, oh, it's free, must not be good, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we're at. So to work with you guys to build your page, to get it all up and running, to get everything up in places would be $1,000 for the year.
Okay, perfect. Rick, you have your hand up.
Yes. Sorry, just trying to turn the camera on. Based out of the Vancouver and the Yukon, what's your guys' reach like out there?
So we did the Yukon, not as much. I think I could have to look how many communities I think we have. I could probably tell you right now if I looked. But in British Columbia, we did a project with LNG Canada throughout the north when Coastal GasLink was just getting started. So we did all the northern coastal communities right from Prince Rupert all the way up into Treaty 8 into Fort St. John, Fort Nelson area. So we've done a lot of work there, done a lot of work with the interior communities in BC, right in the Vancouver region itself. We've done quite a bit of work with communities. So I'd have to say that there's probably at least 50% of the communities in British Columbia are part of Working Warriors. And of course, every time we get a new project, every time we look at something new, that process grows, right? And this is a takeaway that you guys get to leave. So for instance, say you have a project in northern British Columbia that you would like to look at, or the Yukon, or you're just looking to build relationships. This is a very good way to be able to do that, is for you guys to hire, or through us to hire a summer student to help build their platform. They're just like you guys have, so that it's populated then, so that when you guys leave, so the idea is that all the people who are going to be part of the project that you're on aren't going to want to be part of your project. They might want to work in fisheries. They might want to work somewhere else. So what you guys are leaving behind is you're leaving behind a job board and a process that allows all the people from their community to now look at jobs across Canada and engage with employers across Canada, or colleges across Canada, whatever the case may be, right? So that's a big thing that companies do, is they say, we're going to be really heavy in Treaty 8 this year. We're looking to build those relationships. We'd like to get going with Working Warriors. How much would it cost for us to build these communities? And then you're in there with the communities. You're in there doing all the things with them, building that relationship. And it's just worked really, really well, instead of coming in and saying, yeah, we're here to work with you. And, tell me who you've got, and we'll tell you what we've got, and have a nice day. It's worked in the past, but as we move into a digital age, it's going to become a little bit more difficult. And from a cost savings perspective as well, your Indigenous relations team has the ability to say, with just by using your page on Working Warriors, you guys have the ability to, if you're in New Brunswick, you can go engage with communities in Northwest Territories, or if you're in Northwest Territories, you can engage with communities in Montreal or Quebec or wherever the case may be. So it really creates that national presence for you guys, that allows you yourselves to be able to engage and to get things going, right? And ultimately, the goal here would be to have a fully functioning system within Working Warriors that you guys use to build your relationships, or is it just a tool that you guys use in building your relationships and managing your projects, right?
Appreciate your response. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions? Any questions from the HR team? We were blown away by the possibility, because it's always hard to get noticed in a very busy room for recruitment. Any questions from the HR team?
So the only, it's Rosie here again, just on the just going back to the fees, because I'm really interested in seeing how we can kind of start the process. So we build a page, it's $1,000. And what about so additional postings and scraping, is that all in that, or is it, and then there's an additional sort of fee for each of those functions? Because
what's all the fine print? Yeah, no. So once you build your page, so yes, there's, depending on who you use and what you use. So there's all these third-party agents. Maybe you guys just manage your job portal yourself. I don't know. Maybe you have something else that manages it and pushes them all out for you. We just need to understand who that is. Sometimes it's a 5-minute thing to get this going. Sometimes, so next week we're going to be putting Suncor on here. And of course, they're a mega organization that's got operations everywhere, and theirs is a little bit more complex. So our engineers had to go back in and spend 2 days building the process to scrape their page, and it's going to be, say, $800. It's going to be I'm just saying as an example. So,
Yeah.
so the $1,000 a year gives you unlimited job postings, gives you unlimited everything that you want to do on the site. Once it's set up. To set the site up, you would just basically, you would have to let us know who the organization is, or the person within your organization that manages your portal. And we would just connect with them and understand how easy it is to scrape. And if it's something simple, then we would just do it. And if it's going to be something that's going to be a little bit more complex, we'll tell you how many hours that is. And then that's just done. And that all the maintenance and everything that comes with that downstream is all handled by ourselves. In terms of the other pieces, so in terms of staffing, which is obviously a big piece of what we do, understanding the province is going to be a very important process that you guys want to do this in. And the way we do that is we have two scenarios that we use. Typically, when a company hires an individual, they have their wages, and then they have all their burdens in terms of taxes and everything else like that, and then they mark up their wages a certain percentage for their profits. So when we come in, if you say to us you're looking for 15 people to do a certain project, we have two ways we can do that with you. We either charge you an hourly rate that is the exact same rate that you guys have on board. So if you're paying, let's just say, a cleaner $15 an hour or $20 an hour, we would go out, do the recruiting, find all the people, do all those things. We would bring them into your organization on a contract basis. And the reason why that's good for you guys, again, is because it removes all the hiring and firing and lets you kind of test drive the car for a little while to see if they're going to be a good employee. After a set amount of time, I think it's usually 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months. I'd have to go back and talk with my team. There's no fee afterwards for them to come and join you guys full time. I mean, that's not something that we're looking again to make money on. You guys have to pay a certain percentage of their salary going forward or anything like that. That's not how it works. Once we want again, getting back to our whole reason behind this, we're hoping to give people a better life and improve families. So if we can get them a job, we're going to do everything to be able to do that. So the one way is that you just say to us, here's a request. We're looking for 30 people to be on a project in the Yukon or wherever it is. And we'll send you the hourly rate for those individuals. And then what that includes all the insurances and WCB and workers' comp and including a manager. So we have workforce development managers that are within our organization. And one of the big things that we do not want to do is we don't want to become a company that just throws warm bodies at another company like yourself. It's not what we're trying to do. You're not gonna break any molds by continuing to do that. So we have a 3-day orientation program that we have and retention programs that we put through people. So we've got a lot of things, apprenticeship programs. The apprenticeship program we have is 206 pages long. So we really have a lot of programs that we've developed over the years to engage and really get people interested in the work and make sure they're going to stay there instead of going and spending all that money to bring somebody in and they don't last, right? Then the second way that we do that is because a lot of the groups that we work with are unionized, is that we charge a dollar amount. So for instance, if the typical way we charge you out is labor, let's just say it's $35 an hour, it's $35 an hour, and our profit margins are built into that. We cover all the WCB and all those other things. If you guys want to hire somebody because it's a union environment and you want us to help you to fill those roles that are ultimately going to become union roles, then we just charge an hourly rate based on whatever the profits are. So if it's 3, 5, 10, whatever that number is an hour, we charge that, and that's just done through the exact same ways through timesheets. So on a weekly basis, you guys would send us timesheets. If it's an hourly deal that we have, then we would just send you timesheets every week with the hours, all signed off by PMs, the typical way that you're used to doing that. Or if it's the other way, then you would do the same thing. You would just send us timesheets and we would just invoice you for the dollar amount that we've agreed upon with your work to do that. That's from the hiring of people side of things.
And just one more question, and this is really helpful, so thank you very much. So if it's not 15 or 30, it's 1, 2, is that still doable, or are you looking at more larger scale hiring needs?
In terms of people?
Yeah, like it's, hey, I need whatever, two cleaners or 2.
We'll start with 2. We'll start with 1. That's how we build these things. I for me as a company owner, and you know, I would never bring in a program, say, let's do this throughout all of our companies and depend on these guys to bring in 100 people. There's too much risk involved in that, and I wouldn't want to do that for our company, for yours. So the idea is that over the course of a year, let's just say, and we start doing 1, 2s, 3, 4s, whatever the case may be, and we're going to learn some things. Obviously, we're going to learn, and that's part of this whole program is that we develop is doing it in unison with you guys, so that we're develop a program that we can share together, and it's going to be you know, led together, and it's going to have the same results that we're all looking for. So 1 person, 2 people, or 50 people really doesn't matter to us. Although if you start getting the large numbers, we definitely need lead time. That's, you know, you can call me today for 2 cleaners and you need them next week, and you know, we'll work hard to find those individuals. But if you need 50 people starting next week, you know, the lead times for us to find those individuals, if they're not already in our database, is not there. Now, what also comes with all of this as well is, like I said, so the Natives Women's Association of Canada is a group that I really want to introduce you guys to, and so that you can start to benefit from all the things that come with that. So if you say, for instance, you're going to hire people from Working Warriors, we had the ability to go get wage subsidies for those individuals. We'll do that. A big thing is apprenticeships. So you guys may not have the ability to hire somebody and give them an apprenticeship based on, you know, you have to be in the company for a certain amount of time, all those different things. If you guys do hire somebody and their intent is to become into some sort of trade or some sort of profession, then we can work with our organizations to see what kind of funding dollars are available, so that you guys aren't bearing the cost for these. And why that's important is because a lot of these organizations are actually looking for employers. That's their biggest challenge that they have, is that we have all kinds of programs available to provide to organizations like yourself. We just can't get the employers in the door to spend the time with us to understand that. So that's what we do, is that as you guys are going to say to us, we need 5, 10, 100, whatever those numbers are, and this is where they're located, then we can turn around to our organization, our nonprofits and our government organizations, and say, okay, folks, we have a good opportunity come up here. And this isn't siloed so that just Working Wars is doing that. Whoever you're dedicated to within your company, this is together we're doing those things. Together we're getting introduced to NWAC. Together we're going to understand wage subsidies, so that we're helping you guys to build your program, and that you guys can ultimately, you know, take ownership of this at some point.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. And then from a consulting basis, it's the exact same thing. So those are the 2 ways on the staffing side of things. And from a consulting basis, if you look at our services page, and you say, okay, this is, you know, really where we like to understand a little bit more on, then we just scope it out with you. And you know, and you're going to say, well, we don't really know. Well, that's really what we do, is we'll sit down and say, okay, well, what about this, and this? We develop a scope document together, and we determine how much time it's going to take to go and do that project together with you guys, and you know, upfront on all the costs and everything we're doing, and provide you with either an hourly rate or a lump sum rate, and go from there.
Quick question, Jamie. If we had to post something for open, fair, transparent, and accessible on MERCS for Government of Canada, would you respond to an RFP?
Of course.
Okay, perfect.
Of course, we get them all the time. So that's exactly what the Government of Canada one that I just talked to you guys about, Skyline. So that went out to actually the government. It's interesting. The Government of Canada actually did the introductions on our behalf. It was called the Economic Development something EDC
Corporation.
ESDC is who it was. It was ESDC. ESDC got a hold of both companies. One, I did a presentation in Italy, and I did a presentation to the group here in Canada. And yeah, exactly. The Government of Canada introduced us and said, this is the program that's working well in the province of Manitoba, where this project's going to go. And the government did those introductions directly for us. We turned around and bid the work, because we're a for-profit company. We ended up doing an exclusive arrangement with the Canadian group, because I really didn't think the Italian group was too interested or was going to win. But yeah, we do exclusivity as well. So again, we're all about building partnerships, and I don't want to be greedy and all these things. And if we're working together with you guys, and you're going to start bidding projects, and you want us to reply in an RFP, and you want us to be exclusive to that RFP, then that's definitely something that we do all the time as well.
Okay. For the folks on the any other additional questions for Jamie?
I will have my, I think you have my new email and phone number and all that. If not, I'll send it again to everyone on the email message with our contact information. And yeah, by all means, if you have any questions or you just want to grab a cup of coffee online and talk about this or that, this is all about building a relationship with you guys. And I'm really hoping that you do ask questions so that we can find a path maybe to start doing some work together.
Sure, and we'll work with this team to try and help identify that as well. What we call more the near-term projects.
Yeah.
And there's, I think as Wade would say, and Wade, you can jump in there. We have so much stuff going on, and we're working in multiple areas. So everyone, just reach out directly to Jamie if you do not have his email. Or you don't get included on that message, please don't hesitate to contact me. But you can contact Jamie directly for any of your questions for your project specifically. I know we had quite a varied group here today, and for different reasons. So, any other questions before we wrap up? We have 5 minutes left.
Is your project in Florida kicked off yet? So you're building your corporate headquarters there?
To be honest, Jamie, I don't know who, what, where, when. I just got pulled into meeting with Wade last week around what we're doing and what we're developing our services in the US. I'll be honest, I am so out of the loop because I'm really just focused on the government of Canada. But we did have a meeting to share best practices. I was going to invite them, but this was a large enough group. So I'm going to just share the recording with them so that they can see it as well.
Yeah, I mean, so opportunities like that, if you guys are building something new, then that is really the full spectrum of what I've talked about, right? So we can help you to identify your community partners and understand how the construction is going to flow on that one. And then we can get as many Native American people working as possible on the construction of that project. What that does then is those individuals become part of your maintenance team that takes care of the buildings and things on a go-forward basis. So we can actually help to build and then help to train and help to transition them into your full-time team as we go down the road. So that's a prime example of how we would be able to help you guys on a project.
Yeah, and it's really about what I heard from that team was the development of a workforce, training of that workforce, etc. So, we've been in the US for quite a few years now, but opening up a head office in Naples really means that we're going to have major focus. We are a Canadian company. We were born in Canada, but the expansion to the US and recent US clients as well. And we do have cross-border clients like TD Bank, for example, cross borders. So,
how many people are in your organization?
Oh, Rosa, 5,700. I think it's about 5,700, 5,700.
Yeah, so it's not a small organization for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. Well, thank you very much. And so who would be my contact if I wanted to send a follow-up or ask any questions? That's Julie. Is that to you or?
Yeah, for me. And I would leave everybody. I'm sort of the primary, and then you'll get to know everybody. Then I'm sort of don't need to be in the middle. But I'm just initiating those conversations to help you. So just to start it off. So I'm your prime contact, especially if we need to kick some buckets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I can help with that. Wade as well, but I'm helping support the communication. So think of me as your communications support person for BGIS. As we develop the program, it will not be me. It'll be those folks that are actually deliver the services.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I think the first step in this whole entire thing is if you guys agree to putting a page up on Working Warriors, then get a hold of me and we can do that first to get that up and get that running. And then from there, as we evolve, we can just continue doing stuff together.
Yeah, absolutely. Any final questions? Anyone? Nope. Okay, well,
thank you.
Jamie, thank you. Miigwech, thank you very much. I really appreciate the time you spent with us today and previously. It's been just enlightening. I know we've, some of us have recruited Indigenous. We have our 2 Indigenous interns, 2 of 6. So it was a hard slog. That's all I can say, to find those folks. And make them want to work with us too as well. So
Yeah.
that was important to us. And I know we all worked on it collectively. So thank you again, everyone, for your time. Don't hesitate to send Jamie questions directly. You don't have to go through me, but Jamie, I'll be your central point of contact if, to begin with, and then the relationships will develop.
Very good. Thank you, everyone, for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye now.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.